All right, today, like I said yesterday, we're going to talk about how to maybe get through a plateau, but also want to talk about just a number of points that you can help daily maximize your daily weight loss. Just some things you can add or avoid in your protocol. Okay, so these are just suggestions, and let's see if any of these can help you out if you're having any problem. Of course, the very first thing is you want to, and I think most people do pretty good on this, but do make sure you increase your water intake. You want to have it at least 2 to 3 quarts a day. Half your body weight in ounces is, and some people, I mean, if you weigh up there a lot, that might be too much water for you to be able to consume, but that is your goal, okay, for the constant rinsing out, just like what we were talking yesterday. We're trying to rinse out the toxins. A great thing to add at this point, if you haven't already, is 1 to 2 cups of green tea daily. You can put a little stevia in there if you like, or not. Put some lemon juice in there. Also add a couple tablespoons of apple cider vinegar a day too. It's amazing how well that does work. Whether you make it in a vinaigrette or you just, do it as a shot with a bunch of water or dilute it with water, however you like to do it. But apple cider vinegar is very helpful. If you're eating a lot of oranges in your fruits, maybe just avoid those and see how you do. For some, that just for some reason it just slows down their weight loss because of what it does. There's just a lot of sugar in that, and so it can cause a bit of a stall or a slowdown. And also, if you're having 2 large apples, maybe change to 2 medium apples. If you so feel inclined, if you're feeling fine, you can actually cut down to 1 fruit a day. It's quite amazing how many people, depending on, again, on your insulin sensitivities, on how your body reacts, sometimes just going down to 1 fruit a day makes all the difference. But again, if you don't feel like you want to do that, that is okay too. These are just options. And everybody has different weight loss responses to different foods. So that's why you're tracking everything, so that you can kind of see how well you did each day. But for instance, I have found though that people who eat a lot of tomatoes, sometimes they're eating for lunch and dinner, depending on the season of the year. They're eating a lot of oranges or even shrimp. Their weight loss type is kind of slow. So that's why I want you to track what you're doing. Do consider eating at least every day, if maybe not twice a day, some chicken or beef, because it has a bigger punch of protein. And because it has a bigger punch of protein, that does help with the weight loss. So the next thing that you can take a look at is, are you mixing vegetables? If you are, just stop it. And for this next, until you're done the protocol, just stop it, so that if you can maximize your weight loss at this point, fantastic. Again, if you're eating breadsticks or malbotos, that is something you might want to look at also. If you're having 2 servings of it, maybe go down to 1 and see how you're doing, and or just eliminate them completely. Again, track it and see how your body does with that. Make sure there are no additives in anything. Like I've said this all the time, but in your additives like sugar in your protein, so if you're buying it prepackaged and stuff, I prefer you don't buy it prepackaged, but I know life happens and you have to do what you have to do. But also make sure that there's no sugar in your spices or seasonings or MSG or anything that will slow. MSG will totally slow you down, but I'm sure you know that already. For women, please remember your cycle too. You will hold back water either during your menses or during your ovulation, or both. So just make sure you understand that those are things that happen, and then off you go again. You just hold firm and just keep going, doing exactly what you're doing, and you will go past that and do very, very well. Of course, my favorite topic, you might think it is my favorite, it's just not. It's just such a huge issue for so many people. It's bowel movements, and again, just make sure they're happening, okay? Medications, that's something we want to talk about here real quick. I was telling you to stay on everything that your doctor has you on. But if you have changed or started a new medication, that can completely slow things down for a while until your body gets accustomed to that. And it can be a big problem for some. The biggest problem I do find is antibiotics. If all of a sudden you're going on antibiotics, you will completely stall out until you're almost done that prescription. And if you can push through it, that's fine. But just so you're aware, antibiotics have caused a lot of problem. Another big one is prednisone or any other corticosteroids. They will completely pretty much stall you out. So if these things are happening in your life right now, then at least you know what's going on and you can just kind of work through that, okay? Make sure you're getting enough sleep. We've talked about that before. In a later email and a video, I'm going to talk a little bit more about sleep. But again, for women, maybe not so much for men, but for women, it is a huge issue. And sleep is it's just critical for weight loss and also weight maintenance. So we'll try not to have too many sleepless nights, okay? Consider adding, if you're completely not moving your body at all, consider maybe doing some movement, and maybe for 20 minutes go for a nice stroll. But again, on the other hand, if you're working out a lot, and you'll know if you are because you're doing, you know, your Zumba and you're doing your martial arts and you're doing, you know, whatever, that's probably going to be too much and your weight loss will slow down. So if that's the case for you, just kind of back off on that a little bit, just until this part of the program is over with, and then away you go again. Right now, I'm going to talk about the Apple Day, and you've read about the Apple Day, I'm sure, with Dr. Simeons, and it is a very useful tool if your plateau continues. But I tell people, if you're slowly losing weight, it is a plateau. Like when I hit my plateau, instead of losing, let's say, 0.6 to 0.8, I was losing 0.2 to 0.4 pounds a day, sometimes just barely 0.2, but I was moving. And Apple Day won't do much for you as long as you're losing weight. It can, but I mean, it's not necessary. But let's say you wake up for the third day in a row this morning and you're exactly what you weighed for the last 3 mornings. You will work your way through that plateau whether you do something or not, and you just continue on the plan, or you can just take a little control of it. And some people don't mind doing this at all, which is called an Apple Day. And an Apple Day is where you drink water to satisfaction. You don't have to guzzle. You can have your coffee in the morning, but for the rest of the day, you have 6 up to large apples a day if you like. And how I tell people to do them is have 1 every 2 hours, and so you're pretty much having, you know, for 12 hours, for 12 hours you're having an apple every 2 hours. So that's kind of a nice, what'll happen the next day is it just kind of just pushes everything through and gets you off and running again. So it's just an emotional thing. It relieves the emotional distress that you can have on a plateau, but it can be useful, but not necessary, so it is up to you. And for some people, they just like the break. It's not a bad thing for them to do. All right, so we'll just, again, email us with any questions, and we will get back to you with any concerns that you have. Talk to you later.